Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is, once again,
Brother James.
Brother Willis.
Brother Ade.
And I'm Brother Alex, and we are the Table of Brotherhood. And we come together to, once again, speak on a topic of discussion that we all personally feel that should be spoken about, and hopefully can spark some other conversations amongst other people, whoever watches this, with your friends and your comrades and things of that nature. Now, today's topic, like I said in the last episode, is going to be about Black history. The effectiveness of Black African American history as far as what we know and what we don't know. Alright, so the video on the groups on Facebook spun off some hip hop website, something like that. It had videos. It was a video of someone was recording in a high school, and it was asking different people, and the title was light skin versus dark skin. What do you think about light skinned people? What do you think about dark skinned people? And it was females and guys, males who were talking, Everybody had some of the most negative things to say about Black people. And the first one, I read the comments that a lot of people, had, made, wrote down. The first girl pissed off everybody. No one was cool with what this girl said. And this girl was she's a dark-skinned girl. She says she's not Black. She is two or three other things, but she's not Black. Okay, cool. If you're not Black, you're not Black. And she had some of the most raunchiest things to say. All black. The first thing she said, Black people they don't give anything to society. They have never given anything to society. That we're lazy. We're argumentative. We cause problems. We cause issues. Literally, she was saying nothing comes good out of Black people. That's why she doesn't have any Black friends. That's why she doesn't even have any Black boyfriends, because Black people come with drama, and she doesn't entertain drama in her life. So she keeps Black people out of her life. Looking at the girl, okay, you say you're not Black, you're not Black. But by saying that, we produce nothing for society. Like, do you know how many inventions, your African Americans have given to society? You don't know this. You don't know this. All you know was about Martin Luther King, and mad props to Martin Luther King. No disrespect at all. Malcolm X, no disrespect. He's a very, very, very interesting person. Thurgood Marshall, Marcus Garvey, these very interesting people, but you really don't know how, the effects that Black people have had throughout American history. Not just, your Black people, but throughout American history. And I think that has a lot to do with the way a lot of people deal with, Black people. Even with Black people deal with Black people.
First of all, shouts out to the light-skinned non-Black person. But just in case you ain't did your mathematics, according to white society, if you got 1/16 Black blood in you, then you Black. So I want you to go check your A positive, your B negative, check all your blood types, figure that out. And once you discover that you Black, you come back and you apologize, so you need to rep for your people. Marcus Garvey gave a quote and said, a people without knowledge of their history is like a tree without any roots. So before we can grow, you do have to know about your past. You do have to know about your history. Primarily as African Americans, we need to know about our history so that we know that we're not lazy. Don't get me wrong, I think a lot of the inventions and I think a lot of the changes in technology made by Blacks were because they were lazy. Like, they wanted to make their job a little bit easier, because if you didn't know, they had to do all of the work. So yeah, I'm gonna come up with a stoplight because I'm tired of holding up a stop sign. So you need to holler at Garrett A. Morgan about that. Other than that, we have to begin to realize that our history is what we do everything for. If you're doing something just for the sake of doing it, then really what is the importance of it? And so we have to begin to realize that our history is what we do in the present that is recorded, so that when time goes further, it can be marked. And you can't go to the future without first acknowledging the past. That's just how the concept of time works. You have right now, the statements I made at the beginning was the past, and then what I say later on will be the future. But you have to understand what I said in the beginning before you can catch up with what I'm going to say in the end.
Well, I have a general
problem with the statement, with the first question.
Okay.
So I think that there's history, and I think history should be taught the same way math is taught. Because when we say black history, when we say American history, we're making it seem like there are different histories. It's only one history. And if we go back and we put history in its proper context and we do it without bias, that's the way that we can truly learn. But when we allow someone to say, well, this is American history, or this is Chinese history, or this is black history, then you can put your own spin on it. But what happened in the past happened in the past. And you need to acknowledge it, and that's how we learn from it. It's when we hide these things and we try and glorify one group of people through our telling of history and through how we tell the story that we don't learn the lessons of the past. And so there's a great saying that the victors tell the story. And so if the victors truly told the story the way that it, they had someone recorded the way it actually happened, then we could truly learn from it and say, well, what we did, we're not happy about it, but this is what happened. Or we are happy about it, and this is what happened. But, because we do have all these isms, because we have racism, because we have classism, because we have capitalism, and we're people without, I heard the saying that, capitalism without the capital is just another ism. And so, because we have all these divisions, we have the need to carve out all these different niches in history and say, well, we need to tell our story. Our story should be told because it's part of history. It shouldn't be separate from history. So.
And to piggyback on that, I totally agree. I'm glad you brought that up, Brother Dave, because I feel the same way. I would say yes. My answer would be yes to all those questions. Is black history important? Do we need it? Should it be taught in schools? It's definitely yes. But it's coming from the angle of education is important, no matter how you look at it. And as you said, history should be taught the same way as math is. There are facts. And right now, what is being taught and what has been being taught in history is only fragmented history. It's not the complete history. So to get your education, you have to have this component of history as well as what traditionally taught, which is basically white history, or white version of historical events. And so I think black history has to be incorporated, and at some point it will get to the point where it is just history. And as far as the implications of such, I think the lack of black history, the lack of black people knowing true history does affect the community in a negative way. I can't say that I necessarily believe that we can't succeed, that it stops us from succeeding, but it does hinder a significant amount of our population, so we need to address that.
Well, I was going to say the saying, I messed up the saying.
Okay.
The saying I was going to say, that I meant to say, was that until lions have historians, hunters will always be heroes. That's the West African saying. And so it's not that history is not being taught. It's that history from the viewpoint of those people who've been conquered and oppressed is not being taught. And when that history is not taught, then you always have a history that's glorifying those who are in power. And so we're not learning history and learning those lessons from it. We're learning the history of the oppressors. And so we're learning, and when we learn the history of the oppressors, we learn how to be oppressors ourselves. Because that's the only history we learn. And so we learn this is how you govern. And this is the only way that you govern. Because they're not going to say, well, this is what people were doing before we got there. This is how they worship. This is how they live. It's just, they were barbarians and we enlightened them. So it's term of enlightenment.
Okay. What I was going to say, I was going to talk about, I was reading it in the book, and I'm going to talk about the book a little bit later. From the author, he was saying pretty much basically exactly what you two were saying. But he said it differently. He was saying that that the problem with American history is that it is, your white history, is your European history. It's not American history. It's not something that expands across America. Like, you don't know that pretty much 200, 1,500 years before Europeans made it here, other races are here. Not just your African Americans, there was the Indians, and there was something else that I can't remember right now. But black folks was here voluntarily before. And I mean, like the Australian Africans, they were sailing the seas way before anybody else. Okay, but that's a part of history that very few people know about, and it's not being taught in the schools. And I understand what you're coming from. I do understand that you know, doesn't necessarily mean that we can't move forward. Some people can be completely ignorant of their history and still, you know, be successful. And you know, a lot of people does that. Because matter of fact, most of your, since we're talking about black people, most of your black people who are in corporate America, a lot of them aren't knowledgeable about your African history. They're not. But they're still, you know, successful by society's means. They're successful by society's definition. All right? They're still making money. You know, they still should be happy because they make a lot of money. But it's been my personal experience, you know, with students that I work with. When I tell them something about a black history person, something that they don't learn in school, and it relates to them, it's like a light bulb that comes on. It's like a form of enlightenment. And sometimes the change is short-lived. Other times the change is long-term. You know, it actually does inspire them to, you know, do more or be more. And I've had that personal experience myself. Not so much that I wasn't inspired. My goal, okay, one of my goals is, you know, martial arts. Okay, so one of the greatest martial artists that people would say right off top is Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is great. I take nothing away from Bruce Lee. There's a whole lot of stuff that Bruce Lee did. There's a whole lot of stuff that Bruce Lee did that most people don't even know about, that I know about. And dude is an awesome dude. But there were martial artists way before Lee, who have done some stuff way before Lee. And that was, you know, okay, oh man, okay, if I train this, and I'm able, now, okay, I focus on this, I can be able to do this. Awesome. But one of the most inspirational people that I've studied were your black martial artists. Because it came on a level that, you know, it's just something about a brother, another brother, doing something that you do that has an interest in what you have in, that you can link to. You know, it's something about it. You know, I can get along with anybody, just about anybody who's not an a-hole that does martial arts. We can get together, we can talk, we rap, everything, cool. But I remember the first group of black martial artists that I came across. I was talking to one dude, he's like, you do martial arts? Yeah, I do martial arts. He was like, I got some friends who do martial arts. And when he introduced me to him, like, I love the black martial artist. And it's just that, you know, that thing is so knowing that there are people in history, you know, who either started off as slaves, worked out as slaves, who came here before they were slaves, who were freed men, who still took part in the Civil War, and who were heroes in the Civil War, but their names got, you know, washed out because they were black people. You know, knowing these things would actually, I've seen it, you know, awaken people. I've seen that.
Sometimes you just gotta go. You will never know what you could ever be if you never try. You will never see. Stayed in Africa, we ain't never leave. So it wasn't no slaves in our history. Wasn't no slave ships, wasn't no misery. Call me crazy, or isn't he? See, I fell asleep and I had a dream. It was all black, everything. And we ain't get exploited. White man ain't fear it, so he did not destroy it. We ain't work for free, see they had to employ it. Built it up together, so we equally appointed. First 400 years, see we actually enjoyed it. Constitution written by W.E.B. Du Bois. When no Reconstruction, Civil War got avoided. Little black Sambo grows up to be a lawyer. Extra, extra on the newsstands. Black woman voted head of Ku Klux Klan. Malcolm Little dies as an old man. Martin Luther King read the eulogy for him, followed by Bill O'Reilly who read from the Koran. President Bush sends condolences from Iran, where Fox News reports live that Ahmadinejad wins the Mandela Peace Prize. You never know what you could ever be